welcome to this edition again. My name is Iphie, chuks-adizue, and this topic today is about your purpose and your power as a woman. It's interesting to note that a lot of us sincerely still do not understand who we are. You would still have situations of women going through emotional issues, self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues. And even though they want to come out of it, there is this thing that still holds them back. So today, the first thing we're going to be talking about is, who are you? Who exactly are you? And I'm not talking about your name. So if you were to define yourself without your name, without your title, who exactly are you? There are three things I want us to take out of this topic as we talk about who you are. And the first thing is, you are not an afterthought. It's interesting how some women have put it in their heads. I don't know where it came from, but they are an afterthought. And we look back, so when we look back at Genesis chapter 1, we see how God created the world, and he did it in different phases, so something for every day. And when it came to the day where he created humans, he said, let's create man in our own image and in our likeness. And male and female, he created them. But when we go to Genesis chapter 2, we see that, he formed the man first out of the ground, breathed his breath into the man, and the man became a living creature, and he put him in the garden. Now, what does that tell us? In chapter 1, it's pretty much like, everything that you see today is created by words. God knew the end before he even started. He knew that he wanted an earth that was populated with male and female. And so when he was creating the earth in chapter 1, and the earth and the heavens and everything about it in chapter 1, he created male and female. But in 2, so this is the end, when he actually did start out, he put the man first in the garden. And then he now noticed, oh, this man is alone. It's not good for him to be alone. And then he created animals. And then he realized that the animals still were not meeting that need of companionship for the man. And then he created the woman. So you are not an afterthought. You were there from the beginning. God had you in the picture from the beginning. But he was just looking for the perfect time to introduce you into the entire picture. So like I said, the first thing I want us to take out of this is, you're not an afterthought. I don't know if you're married to someone, it seems like as if his life was entirely set up and done, and then you as a woman are just in there like a trophy wife, and you start to think of yourself as a trophy wife and there's no value to you. You're wrong. You are not an afterthought. The reason why you're coming into that life at that point in time is because there's a perfect opportunity for you to come in, and then there's a need that you need to meet. So the first thing is, one, you're not an afterthought. I think I've said that a lot of times, but it's really important to me that we go away with that. The second thing is, God was looking for the perfect opportunity to introduce the woman into the picture. And the third thing is, when he did introduce the woman, it's very interesting. When he was creating the man, he took from the earth and then he created the man. The Hebrew word that was used for creating is a word that could mean like mold. So like the potter, and he molds something, and then he breathed into it, and man became alive. When he did the same thing for animals, he created them from the earth, but they did not meet the need for the man, the need for companionship. So there was still something missing. It meant that God had to make the man, fall into a deep sleep, and then take something from his side, so a bone from his side, from which he now created a woman. Making a woman made God to be innovative. He had to be different. It wasn't the same old thing that was going to work in this point. So as a woman, you bring out the creative nature of God. Of course, God is already creative. I mean, for him to have created the heavens and the earth and the male and the female and everything. But there's a higher dimension that you brought out when he was making you. Now, when he did that, the word that was used, he said, and God fashioned woman. The word that is used for fashion means that he built up. When you create something, you take from that and you create something. So you mold something. You usually take from clay and then you mold it. When you're building up something, please, when you are building a house, of course you bring in different components, right? So if you're building a car, you bring in different components. If you're molding a clay pot, you take the clay and then you mold it. So what you have is what you use. When God was creating man, he took from the earth what he had was what he used, and then he breathed his life in him, and then he became a living creature. When God was making you as a woman, he built you up. So the word, the Hebrew word that's used there for fashion also means like built, so something like it's built up. And why did he build you as a woman? Because he knew that there were a number of things that you were needed to do that's going to be different. And so he built you up in that he used different things from different places to make you the person that you are. Because there's so much more that you are supposed to do than what, do for the man, I mean, than what was available at that point in time. So he built you up as a woman for different purposes. And what's that purpose? Your first primary purpose, which is what he had in mind, was the need that the man had. And that was the need for companionship. He took the woman out of the side of the man because, I mean, you can't hate yourself. That's the way it should be. So he took the woman out of the man because then you would understand where you're coming from or where the source is. And secondly, he built the woman up because there was also the plan for regeneration. Of course, when he created male and female, remember in chapter 1, he said, you know, go take dominion over the earth, replenish. Building the woman up, of course, is also with the purpose of motherhood. And then the third one I want to mention here, which actually is even the most important, is he built you up as well for a particular assignment. So if you remember in Jeremiah 1:5, where God was saying to Jeremiah, he said, before I formed you, I knew you, and I had set you apart as a prophet to the nations. That means before God even made somebody and decided you will be male or female, there is an assignment for that person. So God already knew that when I'm forming this person and I'm forming this person as a woman, she now has 3 different things that she needs to do. She needs to do that primary assignment that I gave to her, whatever I've set her apart for, especially from me as my child. The second thing is she needs to be a companion to the man that I have sent her to. And then thirdly, she needs to be a mother to the children that will come through her because she's a wombed man. These are the 3 key things that God built you up for. So in summary, if we look at it, remember the question that we're still answering now is, who are you? So who are you? You are a vessel of God that is not an afterthought. One that is being introduced into any scene that you find yourself in, whether it's at work, whether it's your marriage, whether it's even your family that you were born in, because that was the perfect time that you needed to come in there. And you are a woman that God has built up and given a purpose first, and then he has also made you a vessel through which you would procreate, replenish the earth, whilst being a strong companion to the man that he has sent you to be with. So in this first video, that's what we need to close out on. Who exactly are you? In the next video, we will go into your powers as a woman. Thank you.